Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 8 a.m. hour number 2 underway, where we will continue the conversation of Indiana picking up a national championship last night. But first, talk maybe some Auburn football, some Auburn basketball for sure. We do it each and every week at this time with the voice of the Auburn Tigers. Thanks to Craneworks, it's Andy Burcham.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah, the big dog's got it.
The voice of the Auburn Tigers, Andy Burcham, on Mac and Cube in the morning is brought to you by Craneworks. Lift it, buy it, rent it, the big dog's got it. Now, Andy Burcham.
Andy, always appreciate having you with us on a Tuesday. Just want your thoughts on sort of where this Indiana team will finish for you. How will you view this season? How will you view this team in the landscape of all college football that you've consumed?
It is one of the more remarkable stories that we will see for forever, I think, in college football, in the fact that where it came from and how quickly Indiana established itself as a national champion and an undefeated national champion. I mean, it really is another Hoosiers story, so to speak, from one of the losingest program, maybe the losingest program in college football in 2 years under Curt Cignetti, to one playing in a playoff game a year ago, which was remarkable, and then to completely running the table this season. I don't know how to state it any more than that. It is one of the most remarkable stories that we will ever see in college football. And it's going to be interesting to see now what happens to that program moving forward. But it is a remarkable story, and this was a fabulous team. I mean, Auburn faced the Kurt Mendoza, or the Mendoza kid 2 years ago with Cal, and he came to Jordan-Hare Stadium and beat Auburn. And little did we know at that time that then he would, a year later, win a national championship, win a Big Ten championship, and win the Heisman Trophy, and now is obviously going to be one of, if not the top picks in the NFL draft coming up.
Andy, when you look at Indiana, I feel like a lot of people have kind of voiced their frustration with how their roster was built, and look how old they are, and they've drawn comparisons to Auburn's basketball team from a year ago and saying how that's just not fair and all this other stuff, when in reality, to me, it's everyone can do it. It's just you got to do it. And by the way, it's a risk. It's no guarantee that it's all going to work. It just so happened that group came together and played really well. So did Auburn's hoops team last year. So I guess what would you say to those that are frustrated with how their roster was compiled and how their average age gives them an advantage over some of the teams they're playing against?
I think they did it Cignetti's way. He brought some guys with him from James Madison and good players with him from James Madison. They were obviously smart with the players that they brought in the transfer portal. I don't think that they necessarily looked at the player rankings that much. They developed players quickly into their system. I don't know how you can criticize anybody for putting together a roster in this day and age, because some will do it through the transfer portal, some will do it from a money situation, and he has put together the best team in college football, and there's no question in my mind that they're the best team in college football this year. As amazing as it is to say that about an Indiana football team, that's the case right now. I don't know how you can criticize anything the way he has done that, considering he did that in such a quick time with a program that was, football was basically the vehicle to get Indiana fans to basketball season in years past. And I was impressed as well with the way Indiana traveled this year from Atlanta, from the Rose Bowl to Atlanta and to Miami. And it looked to me like Indiana had more fans there last night in Miami's home stadium than the Hurricanes did. And that's impressive, because that's a transformation for Indiana as well. becoming a football school in 2 years. Now, again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Indiana moving forward. But I don't know how you can criticize in this day and age of putting teams together. How can you criticize a team because it's got a lot of old players on it? I don't understand that a bit.
Andy Burcham joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. He's with us every Tuesday thanks to Craneworks. Tonight, 8 o'clock, Auburn at Ole Miss. Folks will be able to hear that broadcast right here. I want you to break down the game first, just the matchup. What you think will be a little bit complicated for Stephen Pearl's group in this game, where Auburn may have some advantages in this matchup.
Auburn has to find a way to win a ball game away from Neville Arena. Auburn has been almost perfect at Neville Arena this season, losing the only game on the controversial finish to Texas A&M. But Auburn has to win some ball games on the road in the Southeastern Conference. And Auburn has to find a way to do that tonight. Indiana. Ole Miss is on a roll. They've won 3 in a row, including back-to-back wins against Georgia at home on a last-second shot and at Mississippi State in the Ole Miss rival game on Saturday in the last minute. And the same guy won both games with his shots, Patton Pinkins, whose father is an assistant coach for Ole Miss, a true freshman, and has played really well, including 26 points against Oklahoma earlier this month. But he had the game-winning shots against both Georgia and Mississippi State. Ole Miss is really good at getting the ball to the rim. Malik Dia, their senior, also out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, is their leading scorer and rebounder at 6'9", very versatile player, a transfer guy that started his career at Vanderbilt and then went to Belmont before coming to Ole Miss, and has been really, really good. They're not a huge team, and that has given Auburn some problems of late. But they're very good, and they do a great job of taking care of the basketball, averaging just 10 turnovers per ball game. But of late, they're averaging like 7 or 8 turnovers a ball game. They're very good on the inside protecting the rim, averaging 4.9 blocks per ball game. So it will be tough for Auburn around the rim tonight. And Auburn has to play a very complete basketball game here. Now listen, Auburn has dominated this series of late. 9 straight wins against Ole Miss, including 3 a year ago, the third of which was in the SEC tournament. Ole Miss will be ready for Auburn tonight. And Auburn has to do a very good job of playing its defense and then getting on offense and getting out and running tonight if possible. And if it can't, then working deep into the play clock and getting good shots. It's going to be fast. This week is one of the toughest weeks that Auburn has, Cole. I mean, with Ole Miss tonight and then a Florida team in Gainesville on Saturday. And Auburn hasn't won in Gainesville since 1996. And that Florida team in the last 2 weeks has started playing as well as anyone in the Southeastern Conference. So this will be a very, very tough week for Auburn. And it starts tonight, as you mentioned, at 8 o'clock here in Oxford. Our broadcast right here on Jock starting at 7:30.
Don't be looking ahead to Saturday now, Andy. We got a game tonight, right? Come on now. What would Coach Pearl say if you're talking about the Florida game right now? Come on, we need a pep talk here at 8:09.
No, I can look ahead. They're not looking ahead, but I can.
Yeah, I can look ahead. Perfectly fair. Perfectly fair. Are we starting to see kind of an identity being formed though with the presence in the paint? Maybe not the 3-point shooting team that you anticipated coming into the season. Is this kind of who they're becoming, or is that just kind of a one-off with the performance last time out?
I lean into that's a one-off because I don't think this team's going to stop shooting the 3, and it had an off shooting night this past Saturday
Right.
in the win against South Carolina. It made its first three. It made its last three in that game. Todd Pettiford made the first, and Kevin Overton made the last. The story coming out of last Saturday was Philip Jovich. And it just how he's such a blue-collar type player. But he scores 23 points for Auburn, nearly a double-double, coming off the bench, a guy that just continues to get better and better. And I think he is one of Auburn's keys coming off the bench with this ball club for the rest of this season, and a guy that gives Auburn kind of that blue-collar mentality. And listen, he's not going to go out and score 23 a game the rest of the season, but we have seen him play that well really for the last 2-3 weeks. And he gives Auburn a spark, and he plays so hard. He plays bigger than he is, and he has to because of the teams that Auburn is facing. But to me, that was the story last Saturday. It wasn't the fact that Auburn really struggled shooting the three. It was the fact that Philip Jovich came off the bench in a game where Auburn absolutely had to have him because Keyshawn Hall was in foul trouble so quickly. I mean, he was out of the game at about the 8.5-minute mark, or 8.5 minutes into the ball game on Saturday, and then picked up his fourth foul pretty quick in the second half. So that kind of took him out of the game. It's the first game that he has not scored in double figures all season long. Thank goodness for Philip Jovich, because Auburn would have been in a great deal of trouble without his work on Saturday.
We spoke to Richard Hendricks about him yesterday, and he pointed out the offensive rebounding and just what a difference it makes there. Where would you say his strength is, his greatest benefit is for Auburn? I know you mentioned style of play, but just what he brings on the court from a matchup perspective, be it offensively, defensively, an aspect of his game that you think Auburn could benefit from most moving forward.
Well, I think what Richard talked about is one of his strengths, and it has been all season. He is a good offensive rebounder. And I don't know what it is. I mean, he's 6'8", he's 225, but he gets to the rim. He's a quick leaper. You hear the term quick twitch. He is quick getting to the rim. He's a fast jumper, so to speak. And he will out-jump a lot of other guys. And that is one of his strengths. And it's not, and I'm not talking about following up his own shots on the offensive glass. He's getting other people's rebounds or getting other people's missed shots. But he is athletic enough that he can run. He jumps very, very well for a guy that's 6'8", and just it's a blue collar mentality. He's incredibly likable individual, and to see the friendship of he and Sebastian Williams-Adams it's funny because it's not funny. It's just heartwarming because I mean these are two guys that come from vastly different backgrounds. I mean Sebastian Williams-Adams is out of Houston, highly touted. Philip Jovich was one of Auburn's last signees. He comes to Auburn from Bosnia-Herzegovina, has trouble at times still with communication, and is just it's an interesting dynamic. But those two guys are buds, and boy, they played so very well this past Saturday night. They're both freshmen. I mean, I love the future with guys with those guys out there, and so. But he is a better athlete than folks believe, and he is not he's not afraid of hard work on the floor. And boy, he's been a fun one to watch. And now how does he respond? To a career high, and because now folks are going to pay a little more attention to Philip Jovich coming off the bench.
Andy, we always appreciate the time. Always great catching up. Thanks for hopping in, and we know each and every week you do it. Thanks to our friends at Craneworks.
And Craneworks is the most trusted name for crane and equipment rental in the Southeast for over 30 years. They have a fleet of cranes ranging from 2.5 tons to 500 tons. Craneworks also offers trained and certified operators and riggers to make sure the job is done right. Locations in Birmingham, Nashville, Mobile, and Huntsville as well. Visit craneworks.com for more info. Guys, hope you have a great day. War Eagle!
War Eagle, Andy. Thank you very much. Andy Burcham joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking about that Auburn Ole Miss game tonight. It'll be 8 o'clock on ESPNU if you would like to watch it. Also in the SEC, Georgia's at Missouri, 8 o'clock on the SEC Network. Vandy at Arkansas. That is a matchup of top 20 opponents, 8 o'clock on ESPN. 6 o'clock on the SEC Network, Oklahoma at South Carolina. 6 o'clock on ESPN2, LSU at number 16, Florida. That's your basketball SEC lineup for today. When we come back, we'll roll into Indiana and Miami again. Some of the bigger plays that helped decide this game. How did they happen? Why did they happen? Next, right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy, Cubelic in the morning. It is 8:19, Tuesday, January 20th. If you missed Andy Burcham, go get the podcast at jocksfm.com. Some portal news. Army, Georgia edge defender Elo Mendoza has committed to Purdue. So a good get there for Barry Odom, GMAC. We thought Mendoza would do a little bit more for Georgia this year. Kind of didn't click for him. Wasn't able to go make that happen. Ole Miss cornerback Chris Graves has committed to Missouri. Missouri, by the way, having a very quiet portal campaign, season, effort. What do we reference the portal doings as?
Shopping spree?
I feel like campaign sounds good. I like campaign.
Okay. Portal campaign. If you're not familiar with what Missouri's been able to pull in, Zach Owens, offensive lineman from Mississippi State. He'll be rolling in. C.J. May, edge defender from Louisville. Mark Shanuda, punter, Tennessee State. Greg, your thoughts?
Really good hang time.
There we go.
Also can hold, so the beneficial.
Dual threat. Dual threat.
Dual threat. Dual threat.
Colin Sorensen, offensive tackle from Charleston Southern. 6'4", 280. Haven't seen the tape. Don't know. Kendrick Lanier, wide receiver from Minnesota. Also, Maleye Fanoti, running back from Montana State. You got anything on that one?
No, but I did watch Montana State play twice this year. They're pretty sporty.
That's a win.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Sione Leolea, cornerback from Oregon that Mizzou also going to get. Elijah Dotson, a safety from Michigan that they're going to bring in. Kevin Tooley, an edge defender from Houston, 6'2", 255. Nick Evers, quarterback from UConn. Your thoughts?
Don't have anything there.
And finally, Bruno Roos, kicker, Florida State.
Anybody named Bruno should be like a D tackle, but it's okay. If he can kick it through the uprights, we're good.
What about Bruno with two ends?
Bruno. I don't even know. How do you say it?
Also,
Do we have a
Donta
pronunciation guide?
Bruno. Donta Simpson Jr., defensive lineman from Miami, is going to be heading to Mizzou. Nashawn Montgomery, wide receiver from Florida, is going to be heading to Mizzou. So this is going to be, I mean, when you hear this right here, this is familiar for a lot of teams, maybe some a little bit less, some maybe more. Will Kemma, offensive tackle, Kansas State, 6'4", 268, weight room. How we are putting out these way too early top 25s, I have no idea. Do we even know what the completed rosters are going to look like and how different they're going to be? Like, if I asked you to just ponder next year's top 25, Greg, do you have any confidence in who you're even putting in your top 5 right now?
Gosh, no. I have no idea.
I mean, Georgia, I would probably say, okay, Gunnar Stockton coming back. Feel pretty good about that, but still some change. Oregon, Dante Moore. Okay. Feeling pretty good. Texas feels like they got a ton of talent. Arch Manning back. You had Cam Coleman, legit target. Julian Sayin back at Ohio State, but I mean, there'll be some changes defensively with that group. Indiana. I mean, Josh Hoover has the ability to fit right in, right? But we don't know if he's going to be as accurate as Mendoza.
I do think it's going to be hard for them to recreate. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm trying hard not to. I have so much faith and trust in what they are as a team and their coaching staff. I think it's going to be hard to recreate the magic. I will admit. I think that team had some magic to it. And I think Hoover's great. I think Nick Marsh is really good. The receiver they got from Michigan State. I think they have some really good personnel. I think they're probably, in some cases, maybe a little more high-end talent with the guys they're bringing in a couple different spots. But I don't think there was something really special about that Indiana team. So I would probably have them in the top 10, top 5. Probably don't have them there. To me, it's pretty obvious. To me, it's Texas, Georgia,
Oregon.
Probably putting Oregon in the top 3. I like Oregon a lot. Excellent football team. Ohio State's going to be around for sure. They're always around. There's no doubt about that. Gosh, and then beyond that, it gets very difficult. I think the top 4 are pretty clear cut, but I don't know if you see it that way. Like, I feel like there's kind of a drop in questions beyond those top 4 right now. Yeah,
I mean, I'm probably going to want to study some of these rosters a little bit more, look at some of the coaching changes, but let's just say you go there. This is CBS Sports, college football, way too early, top 25. Top 4, I feel like we have settled. Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Oregon. They have Notre Dame 5th. So I'm going to go through the rest. Might not get through all 25, and you just kind of give me a quick thought on yes, no, maybe, why, what the world, but yeah, probably. Okay, Notre Dame at 5. You have anything there?
I'd have them a little higher. Right now on paper, that might be my number 1.
Okay. Texas A&M at 6.
Yeah. Not there. Too high.
Texas Tech at 7.
Too high. Way too high.
I would agree with that. Indiana at 8.
Good.
Michigan at 9.
Too high.
Who knows?
But
Like, how can we have any idea what that
Optimistic.
team's going to look like?
optimistic.
Oklahoma at 10.
They lost a lot off defense, bud. Man, that's a lot of production you got to replace. And they got some guys for sure. A couple of guys that can take over the game, and I think offensively they'll probably be better. I would hope. They were a little inconsistent on that side of the ball this year, but yeah, they're probably going to be a top 10 to 12. I'm probably okay with that.
Yeah, they're a good
But I
maybe
don't know,
right there.
top 10.
Maybe, I would say.
I think that's about right. You know, I think that's about right. Probably going into next year.
I would say this about Oklahoma. One aspect of your team that you got to figure out if you're going to be a top 10 football team next year. Block.
No,
Plain
come
and
on.
simple. Plain and simple, Oklahoma. Figure
Too
out
mu-
how to
you're
get
asking
people
too
blocked.
much.
It's a lot.
See, you're asking
it's a tough
too
task.
much. That's
It
your
is a
problem.
tough task.
That's your problem. You're way too. The expectations from you are way too high.
I'm greedy.
Yeah.
USC 11.
Hey, let me try one more thing for Oklahoma too.
Okay.
Continue to tackle. If you can block and tackle, you got a great shot. Great shot.
Those are two fundamental building blocks of a lot of good football teams. USC at 11.
I really like SC coming back this year. They do have a couple key pieces that will be difficult to replace. They really lost their top 3 weapons. And I really like the receiver they got from NC State, Terrell Anderson. But I don't know if it's a plug and play. Oh, he's just Mekhi Lemon. No problem about it. But I do think that there's a lot to like. All 5 offensive linemen are back. They have a top 2 running backs back. Like, I think there's some things to really like about SC.
Don't you think that sort of losing a couple weapons feels like the story of a lot of these teams we've been talking about? Even if it's not all of them, there are a couple of big weapons that are going to be gone. I mean, Oklahoma, you mentioned defense, but there'll be a weapon or two gone offensively. Indiana, we're going to talk about that, of course. Texas A&M is not going to be at full caliber like they were this past year. Georgia's going to lose a weapon or two. Ohio State's not going to be exactly what they were. We'll have the best receiver in the nation coming back, but just you're going to have to overcome some serious power on the perimeter. A lot of these teams that we already talked about in the top 11, they have BYU at 12.
See, like I feel like BYU has a very unique style. I think having LJ Martin's back is huge. Of course, Bear Bachmeier will go into his second year. And they're going to be tough as nails. You know that. I don't know. There's something about their ceiling to me. I just have a hard time envisioning them kind of breaking through. You know what I mean? Just the style of play that they play with. Like I think they're going to be really good, 10-win team, but I don't know. We're talking about, playoff team. I don't know. Are you there with them?
Good, not great. Like you said, something's going to have to be a little bit different about them if they're going to be great. I think that I have no problem saying
There's more
that.
juice, I think. I think they just need a little more juice. I think they're a rugged outfit. I got a ton of respect for them, but I just feel like the big play potential, just some other aspects of their team, I don't feel like I get it all the time from that group.
Miami at 13. Is it going to be Darian Mensah?
Yeah. I think that's a safe bet, but yeah, I think it'll be Darian Mensah. But I think Miami's, and I know Mario's great and all, but you're losing a lot off both lines of scrimmage, buddy. I think that's going to be hard to replicate what you just had.
A lot. I don't know if I would feel okay going with Miami there. A very interesting one next in our top 15 way too early teams for the top 25 heading into 2026. not just at 14, but also at 15. We'll tell you who they are, and Greg and I will discuss if they deserve to be there or just should be there next, right here on Jocks. Taking a look at next year's college football season, way too early top 25. We got through 13. We'll tell you who 14 is, who 15 is. Pretty interesting names. And maybe where a couple of other SEC teams fall in the CBS way too early top 25. First, I'll tell you about Train. I can tell you flu season is here at our school and in some of our sports teams and teams we're playing against. It is rampant. Make your home healthier with Train's Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner. Removes up to 99.9% of airborne particles, including those that cause virus. 100 times more effective than standard air filters. 8 times more effective than HEPA room filters. Find a dealer near you at Train.com. It's hard to stop a train. LSU comes in at 14, Greg. Your thoughts?
You know, I like it. I mean, I think there's a lot to like about the pieces they've added. But there's also a certain shininess that comes with it, too, that leaves you a little concerned. I mean, how dissimilar is it to last year's team when they went out and had the #1 portal class and it didn't work out, right? It didn't always go the way it was supposed to go. And I'm looking at the roster, and I love their scheme, of course. I think Lane's a tremendous coach. I love their offensive coordinator. There's so much to like about what LSU has. But there are massive question marks. Do I think the receivers will be great? Absolutely. I think they'll be great at wide receiver. But amongst the notable additions, how many big-time offensive linemen were brought in so far for LSU?
Big time?
Well, I don't even know if the ones that they brought in are good. I don't even know.
Yeah, that's where we're going to have a problem is, did they bring some alignment in? Yes. Big time? Yeah. I don't know. Now, I will say, you know that system like I do. It doesn't have to be overly dominant to be successful, but you bring in Devin Harper from Ole Miss. He wasn't really playing last year, so I don't know if that makes him great. You go get Alou Ba from Maryland. Haven't seen the tape. Don't know. Sean Tompkins, offensive tackle from Baylor. Haven't seen the tape.
Yeah.
You get Jamar Jones Jr. from Nichols to come in and help at offensive tackle. So, yeah, I don't know if you can look at it and say definitively, yes, the O-line is going to take a big step forward.
So that's my big holdup. And I understand the system, and I know the lack of emphasis that they'll put on it. And I actually thought last year's offensive line kind of rounded into form, but relatively speaking, it was a pretty good group for Ole Miss. But I don't know, man. Like that's my big holdup with LSU, and they were just so average, if not well below average, this past season. It's hard for me to be super confident in that group until I see them go out and play well. I love the receivers. Love the quarterback. Love some of the additions they made along the defensive line. Like some of the additions they made, in the back end defensively. But that LSU team had some dudes now on defense. And I don't know if they're going to be the same level on defense as they were. And I'm still wondering about the offensive line. So to have them in the top 25, 100%, great with that. Have them in the top 15, top 10, top 12, that feels aggressive.
It's fair. And, you look at it and say, is that going to be enough, what they have around that offensive line, for them to maybe be a top 15 or 14 as they are currently ranked in the CBS Sports way too early top 25 ball club? Number 15, Alabama, Greg.
There's just so many unknowns. I really like how they're compiling the roster, right? I like the roster. I do. I think they have the right recipe of young guys that will be hungry and eager to prove what they're capable of. But that's just it. They're going to be young. They'll be talented. They're going to have some guys, but they're going to be young. And they're going to have to rely pretty heavily on a couple big hits in the portals, especially along the offensive line. I lean to you. I mean, we've seen 15 snaps of Ty Haywood. I don't know how good that guy's going to be. You seem to be pretty optimistic. I liked the 15 snaps I saw. Is it translatable? No clue. I know nothing about Caden Strayhorn at Michigan. I did watch Nick Brooks. I did prepare and cover an Oregon game and got to watch Terrence Green. I think they got some decent additions for sure. But I still think it's going to be a lot of freshmen and sophomores, which is totally fine. It's going to require great quarterback play, which I think they're going to have. I feel pretty good about quarterback. It's going to require a significantly improved offensive line because that group last year was painfully bad at times. And it's going to require a couple guys stepping up at wide receiver because it will not be easy to replace Jeremy Bernard. But I'm cautiously optimistic that a year in the offseason, Ryan Williams can get back to form. In a contract year, of course. I'm cautiously optimistic that they can adequately replace some of the other pieces that were lost along the defensive front. I feel pretty good about the defensive front additions. But I don't know, Cole, where are you? I think that's about right for Alabama, if I'm going to be honest. It's probably about right, 15 or so, and kind of banking on a few pieces to play mature football when they're actually 19, 20 years old.
Well, and we kind of glossed over quarterback there, and that will be different. And regardless of what maybe some Alabama fans want to say about what Ty Simpson was last year, he was productive, and he did a lot of good things for that program. You're still turning it over to somebody, and we will have the same questions, the same conversations that we had at this time last year, and that we had for the next few months a year ago, and that we had in August a year ago. It might look great. It might be incredible. It might be fun. It might be awesome. The reality is we don't know. We don't know what Austin Mack is going to look like. We don't know what Keelan Russell is going to look like as the full-time starter at Alabama. And if that offensive line doesn't get cleaned up, they themselves might not matter that much as to how great they are, because a lot's going to have to happen around them. And there are also some pieces that are going to move on that gave you a lot of production and did things in a certain way that you're going to have to find some other people to begin to do those things those ways. You mentioned one who's overly talented, but it's not just going out there and catching the ball. You had guys who played the game the way it's supposed to be played, and we haven't really seen a lot of what's coming next that has shown they play the game that way, and those things also have to happen.
No question. But the one thing I will say, though, I do think having a slightly more inexperienced team could actually pay dividends. And part of the reason why I felt like they did, in many ways, it helped them. Right? They had a smart, cerebral quarterback. Let's lean into that. We'll give them a lot of freedom at the line of scrimmage. We'll make checks. We'll make adjustments. I think you're going to see a group that now will maybe revert to a little more call it and run it. Like, let's just fire off the ball and go.
Yeah.
Like, it might not be perfect. There might be some dirty yards in there, but guess what? Let's go. Like, just whether it's Austin or Keelan, whoever it ends up being, fire off the ball, offensive line, you go tee off. We're going to run duo, and it might be a 4-yard gain. It might be a 12-yard gain. It might be a 2-yard loss, but guess what? Let's just run it. Let's fire off and go. I think this staff is a really, really smart staff. I continue to lean into that. And I do think when they do their self-scout this year, there's probably going to be a couple things they'd probably like to do a little differently with a slightly younger team next year, which could be beneficial, I think, as they move forward. Because I think they're going to have some guys. They're just going to be young. And there might be a couple growing pains. But actually, when you look at the schedule, I think there's room to kind of grow into yourself as the season goes along. So I like the makeup. I think you'll have a hungry team. I think you'll have a team that's eager to go prove that, hey, we're young, but doesn't matter. Kind of like Oregon had this year.
Yep.
And, if some pieces fall into place, you probably feel pretty good about what they put on the field.
Absolutely. All right, Dr. Mel wants to chime in on college football conversation today on the Higginbotham Hotline. Welcome in, Dr. Mel.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you all today?
Doing great, thank you.
Great. Many years ago, there was a commercial made by, I believe, Spike Lee. It's impossible. It's impossible. So is it impossible for Lane to state that he can't win a college championship in Oxford, Mississippi? I think not. So bail out on those guys, and so just, goodness, what a debacle. But anyway, I have just a comment. Well, first of all, to Greg, I actually worked part of the night last night, got a chance to see some of the game, and great job, Greg, on the call. But I've never seen such bias. Give Miami a bone. I've never seen such a plea for attention. And is this on a national championship game? Is this kind of the norm? I mean, I know it's their home stadium and all, but they were just begging for support, and I thought this here is really, really biased. So I'd like to just hear your comments.
Which aspect of it, Dr. Mel?
Last evening, of course, they showed Jimbo Fisher and these people on the sideline and so forth, and then the announcers kept saying, I guess from ESPN, well, they got to get going, they got to do this, they got to do this, and they got to do just really, really pro-Miami. And I'm saying Indiana earned their way here. This is just bias, but, maybe I was looking at it backwards.
No, I didn't hear the things that you're referencing, and actually I know Greg didn't because he was preparing for the radio call. So it's an interesting thought. If we have other callers that heard it, or if John or Damien heard it, they can chime in. We weren't
Well,
really a part of it.
oftentimes, yeah, don't mean to cut you off, but like oftentimes, Dr. Mel, just from a television's perspective, Cole can speak to this as well. You had a heavy favorite in Indiana. You had a heavy favorite that has looked like a juggernaut in the first 2 games. So you usually present it when it's a heavy favorite. All right, how does Miami make it interesting? How do they make it competitive? What does Miami need to do to close the gap? Because we already know what it is that Indiana needs to do. Go out and just play their game, right? They got an advantage. So oftentimes that's the way it's presented. I don't think it's intentionally biased. It's just the way you present a game that many think have a chance to get one-sided. I don't know, Cole. Do you kind of see it the same way?
Yeah,
I can understand why they might read it that way.
Yeah, I think you knew how good Indiana was, and you didn't need to further describe them. They were undefeated, and so therefore the conversation shifts oftentimes to, we know what you're going to say about Indiana, but what do you think about Miami, their chances, their strategy in this game of how they're going to have to operate and do some different things. So I think I understand where you're coming from, Dr. Mel, but also think I understand why it may have sounded as it was going that direction. Antonio and Moody would like to chime in on the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in, Antonio.
Hey, fellas, how y'all doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Just wanted to chime in about my Buffalo Bills. First, a couple questions. I was trying to see, y'all think that was a catch, interception? What?
We said interception yesterday, all of us.
I missed you yesterday. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You probably already covered all of this, but I missed you. But what do you think about the firing of Sean McDermott? I think, to me, it hurt me because he brought us back from the dead. And I don't think there's nobody out there better than him. And I just wanted to see what you guys thought about it.
Yeah, we discussed it a little bit yesterday, just saying that it felt like it was probably time for a reset. Greg brought up a good point about sort of reaching your plateau there, and maybe you have your franchise quarterback. He's paid. You're not going to go away from that. You're not making a change there. So if you're going to get over that hump, how do you do it? And that might be the way. Is to just try to find some new blood in there at head coach and be able to move on.
Who would you guys think that they would go after that would probably be, comparable?
I can tell you the first call I'd make. Whether he takes it or not is highly improbable.
I'm thinking I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's highly improbable. But I'd call Nick Saban in a heartbeat. Like, I mean, are you kidding me? Like,
that's the only name
we
I
got
can
the
think
best
of right now. Other than that,
but that's the only thing I could say about the Buffalo Bills thing. Like, you had a good coach. I don't think anyone's disagreeing that Sean McDermott's a good coach. Like, it's hard to fire a guy without an obvious replacement in that could be a legitimate upgrade, right? Like, it could very easily turn into the Penn State scenario where you fire James Franklin, don't really have a plan. Everybody says no, you swing and miss on a bunch of different guys, and just so you're so lucky at the end that it worked out well for you that Matt Campbell was all of a sudden interested in the job. It's terrific. Like, it worked out great with how it all ended up. But it can happen in the NFL too. Like, how do you think the Tennessee Titans are feeling right now about firing Mike Vrabel? How's that looking
and look what
for their
look
organization? Like. I mean, it looks brutal because they didn't have an obvious. Oh, this is an upgrade. We got to do it now, guys. We got to go. Well, it's not looking so good, and Vrabel's on his way to the AFC Championship game, and in all likelihood, going to the Super Bowl based on what the expectations are for Jarrett Stidham. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a dangerous game, but if I were an owner in the NFL and I had Josh Allen as my starting quarterback, and, by the way, I'm building a new stadium and trying to generate and drum up interest, you don't think I'd throw a big bag of cash at Nick Saban? Absolutely, I would. Yeah. I don't know if he'd take it, because guess what? Jupiter, Florida, pretty nice. And he's spending the winters there, not in Buffalo. So I don't think he'd take it, but I can promise you I'd try.
Yeah, I'm one of those. He brought us from being a laughing stock for years, and now to one of the best teams in the NFL with Josh Allen, and to just let him go without having Nick Saban in your back pocket or somebody in your back pocket, it just baffles me. And I'm thank y'all for your output. Sorry I missed you guys yesterday.
Well, it's the most attractive job. I think it's the most attractive job on the market by a mile because of the quarterback. I mean, it is by far the most attractive job on the market. No doubt about it. Quarterback's good. Roster's close. You just need that final push to get over the hump. And it's not that dissimilar to Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City was they're okay, and then they bring in Mahomes. Mahomes, of course, became generational, but they were good even before Mahomes took over. Alex Smith was good. They're winning a lot of games with Alex Smith. You put Mahomes in, all of a sudden they go from a perennial playoff team that gets to the second round to a Super Bowl contender every year. Like, you just need that final little push, and that's what you can get with the coach sometimes. You can get it with the quarterback sometimes. They already got the quarterback. Now you just need the coach.
Sounds like you need Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, because that's when things took off for the Chiefs.
Easy.
Let's just say. Just being honest with you there. All right, more college football next, right here on Jocks. Back to some college football discussions right here on Jocks. It is 8:53, Tuesday, January 20th. So if I asked you who you have the most confidence in right now, Greg, going into next season, I feel like that answer would be Notre Dame from you.
Yes, probably Notre Dame and Texas. Some combination of the two.
God, it's
Those are
hard
probably
not to
the two
say
teams I feel
Texas with
best
all that
about.
talent, man. I mean, just talent everywhere.
Man, they're going to be great. They're going to be great. I mean, but Notre Dame, I've kind of seen it. I kind of know what I'm getting. With Texas, you're relying on a couple unknowns. I mean, I'm not saying that Cam Coleman won't be great. I think he'll be great. I think he's got a lot of talent, but I've never seen him in a Texas uniform. I think the two-headed monster running back is going to be terrific. I love Rasheem Biles. I mean, you still have to replace some really capable pieces. So I like Texas a lot. I just think Notre Dame, few more. Now, you're going to miss the running backs.
Let me ask you this, though, about Texas real quick.
Those guys a lot.
How concerned are you with – people are going to hate this, but I don't care. How concerned are you with, say, glue guys, hard hat guys, leaders, captains, just guys that can hold it together? Like, let's go to the last couple national champions. Like, I think we know this Indiana team was just built with a bunch of those guys. people are going to say Ohio State, oh, well, you got all the mercenaries in there. Like, you and I know Caleb Downs' mentality. Like, that's not who he is. Like, we know what football means to him. You get a Seth McLaughlin that had multiple years as a starting center. Like, you didn't just go out and get the most talented guys you could get. There are some people who look at it on its surface and think that, but I mean, like Ryan Day, Seth McLaughlin's told me the story. In practice, like the positions he put him in, and he's like, said he came up one of their first scrimmages, and he comes out there and starts pointing out the Mike linebacker, and nobody's saying anything.
Right.
And he's like, what the hell are we doing? And he said Ryan Day pulled him aside after that practice, and he said, that what happened today in that scrimmage? He said, that's why you're here.
Love it.
He said, we need accountability. We need a voice. We need somebody to get things going. That's why you're here. Who are those guys for Texas? That's honestly my biggest question about them next year.
Totally
if you
fair.
don't
I
think
think
you
Arch
need
could
them,
be
look
that
at the
guy.
last few national champions. They've all had that guy. Those guys, multiple guys.
But sometimes you got that quarterback, though, dude.
But that's fair. If it's him, yeah.
And I think he's got that. I think he's a dude now. And we started to see it at the end of the year. It took him a little while. It's hard, man. It's hard to play college football at a high level. But he got it going there late. And and they're going to put a lot on the quarterback's shoulders anyways. Yep. I think he can be that guy. Like, hey, guess what, boys? We're doing it my way today, and that's the way it's going to go. And the quarterback should be that voice. He really should.
Oh, and Sark tells him. Sark has told us. He's like, you can play quarterback, and then you play quarterback at Texas. And there's even more that comes with that. It is that different. And I agree with you. I think he does have a lot of the makeup to be able to not just handle that, but handle a big-time college football team. Is that enough? It's going to be a couple months before we find out.